The trade deadline has come and gone, and there were no fireworks here in Baltimore this year. Now, we all spent plenty of time talking about the possibility of a trade this season, but ultimately, General Manager DeCosta opted to stand pat at this year's deadline. Now, while there was plenty of speculation, I can't say that I'm surprised that the Ravens opted to go this route. There were a few things working against them trying to pull off a midseason trade this year, and the big one was the salary cap. The Ravens are tight against the cap this year. According to Russell Street Reports, Brian McFarland, who's a salary cap guru, the Ravens only have about $1.2 million in cap space right now. That's not much money to go out there and try to add a player at the deadline. If the Ravens had gone out there and pulled off a trade, let's just say for an offensive tackle, that player almost certainly would have cost more than the cap space that the Ravens have available to them. So in order to even pull off a deal like that, the other team would have to pay the remaining amount of that player's salary, or at least a good portion of it. And for that to happen, the Ravens would probably have to give up even more compensation, either a higher draft pick or more draft picks. We all know that's not the recipe that the Ravens want to use as they build this team moving forward. The Ravens are getting into a territory now where they're paying some of the big name players on this team with second contracts. That's already happened with Marlon Humphrey and Mark Andrews. And as we all know, a contract for Lamar Jackson is around the corner at some point. So the Ravens are going to have to build through the draft. So it doesn't make sense to give up a ton of picks when you're going to need those picks in future years. So we all talked about the possibility. It's fun to speculate about a trade possibly happening in the middle of the season. But let's not forget, the Ravens are still 5-2 right now. They're all alone atop the AFC North. They've made some tweaks and adjustments during the self-scouting process over the bye. They're getting some key players healthy during the second half stretch. This team is absolutely good enough to go to the playoffs and make a run, and we should all feel good about that right now. So that's it for me on Final Drive. But before I go, I want to make sure you saw that another episode of the Purple Chair podcast dropped earlier today. We talked with the moms of Mark Andrews, Tyus Bowser, and Patrick Queen. It's a great episode. Go ahead and check that out wherever you get your podcasts. So that's it for me. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again tomorrow.